Hey everyone, this week we're going through the as requested GP Anaheim winner. It's mostly the exact 75. I think I took out the increasing savagery for Wolfir Avengers because I didn't really know what the increasing savagery was for. Like the Miracle deck, I guess, or maybe the Geist deck. But Wolfir Avengers is pretty good against like the green decks that have been going around and the zombie decks, so I wanted to try them out. As for the deck itself, it's kind of in a weird place. It can play aggro or control. It's got a bunch of aggro cards like Stringergeist and Hellrider, Huntmaster, Silverheart. That kills them. Those are all things that kill them. But it's also got this weird side where it wants to fix its mana so it can play everything with Dawn Elks and Borderland Rangers and Abundant Growths. Because I guess allied colors don't really have that much to do mana fixing wise. So you got to play all these green mana fixers to make sure you can play your Stringergeist and your Hellrider in sequence. And sometimes even then you just can't because you have to play Abundant Growth on turn 2 or something because your land's in Evolving Wilds. But the control side is a little weird because you have Huntmasters. They also serve a control role mostly. They're good against Boros. They're not actually very good in this metagame. They're good against zombies and Boros, like all the weenie decks, and they're not very good against Jund, Naya, basically anything with red. It's okay against Miracle, but I usually sideboard them out. And it's got Devil's Plays, which I usually use defensively because this format's very fast and you can't really out aggro Boros. And Bonfire, which is an insane card, and I'm a big fan of it. It's what really makes this deck like fun playing, which is weird because you usually don't see them that often. But Bonfire is very good because you just Bonfire their board and attack with a Stringergeist, a Hellrider, and a Silverheart, and they're dead. You also have some Wolf Runs, obviously, a bunch of basic lands, a lot more forests than mountains because of your green mana fixing in Abundant Growth, Elk, and Ranger, and 4 Evolving Wilds, of course. The sideboard is just Blasphemous Axe for Miracle, which seems odd because I don't play any creatures, but it's really your only way to kill angel tokens. That's basically the only place I sideboard them in because it's not that good against Boros. It's okay. Usually Bonfire is just better, which is why I sideboard that in as well against Boros and Miracle. Devil's Play for Miracle. Garrick's kind of in a weird place. He goes in a bunch of matchups just because he's versatile. He can kill creatures and make them. Like Miracle has a really hard time dealing with planeswalkers, and I sideboard him against a bunch of creature decks like Naya, just because they're good there, and it shuts down their own Garricks. Huntmaster, the fourth Huntmaster, just because it's not very good against a bunch of decks in the format like Jund, but it is still pretty good against Boros and such. And this deck doesn't have a lot of ways to abuse Huntmaster. Like you can't flip him very often, like in the previous Huntmaster deck I played. But he's still good enough to warrant a fourth slot in the sideboard. Pillar for the aggro decks I've been mentioning so much, and trees for the same reason. Conscripts are actually for reanimators. It's like the only thing I have for reanimator, and that and like Devil Blasphemous Act, I guess. But I just board in conscripts against their reanimator, steal their Gristlewind, draw 7, and then attack them with it, and it's good times. And I also, strangely enough, I sideboard in this end against Jund a whole lot, like the aggro Jund now that Kibler played at the GP, which is like all over the internet now. But this deck doesn't have a lot of ways to beat their Falconwrath Aristocrat. Actually, no way. I lose to that card uh, basically every single time I play Jund. It's very hard to beat, which is why I don't like this deck a whole lot. Like, Jund is one of the more popular decks, and you absolutely cannot beat a Falconwrath Aristocrat. So I actually don't recommend this deck very much. Like, it's got some game, like a mediocre game against a bunch of decks in the format, but it's not like super good against anything. The way like Miracle is, or even Boros gets those random god draws. I'm mainly playing this because it's not like the worst deck. Like decks still do pretty well against it. I mean, still 3-1 or 4-0 dailies from time to time. You can still see this deck like placing, but I don't like how much variance it contains. Like it's not a very high variance deck because you have all this fixing and a bunch of cards that have the same effect like Hellrider, Geist, and Silverheart. But I mean, it's kind of weird. It's strange how it won the GP to me. I really expected Rietzel to win, but I guess it's fine. Oh, conscripts, I was saying, like, I use it to kill Falconwrath Aristocrat. That's basically its number one use in the sideboard. I've considered a third just because I can't kill Aristocrat ever, and Deadweight doesn't even do it most of the time. So I've considered splashing black, but that just makes it like a weird mana base. But conscripts, you target their Aristocrat and they sacrifice it. One time I did not have someone sacrifice it, so I got to attack them for 4 first, and then I sacrificed it, and that was the best. But since that never happens, it's just a 5 mana answer to a card that kills you with Silverheart, so not the best. Um, but yeah, we'll take this through a daily and we'll see how it performs. Hopefully we get a good record. I'm a little sad from losing last time, but can't win them all. But we'll win this one, right? Yeah. Okay, daily starts in a few minutes, so I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then play some matches.